Welcome to a new world. I do hope to do quite a bit in this place, but without further ado, let's get into my first journey in this new world, and first journey with you. I start by swimming away from spawn and end up finding myself an abandoned nether portal under the water. As you can see, the loot wasn't the best, but it is pretty nice to have early on. As I run around and try and find a suitable place to settle down, I was wondering, do you guys consider using a minimap mod cheating? I personally don't, but I know some people do, which is why I haven't decided to have one on at the moment. If it's okay, I'll probably end up using Zero's minimap and world map mod, but if you guys consider it cheating, I will refrain from doing so. Also, I am sorry if I pronounced that name incorrectly, but I always struggle with X's because they can sound like literally anything. But anyway, let's get back to the adventure. As per usual, I noticed that the forest was on fire. It wasn't me, I promise. And decided to leave because, it's not my problem. Along the way, I ended up finding a few flowers, including the first cornflower of the world, which I picked up. It's just the rules. And then I found some pumpkins, which I also grabbed, but these are just for fun. No rules about that. I noticed a village off on the mountainside and decided against making my house there for multiple reasons, but I will house nearby. Now that I've figured out where I want to have my house, it was time to actually start collecting some actual materials. Insert joke about punching wood here. And while I will not be living here, I'm still robbing these villagers because I'm hungry, and I do not care about them that much yet. After robbing the locals and having the Iron Golem beat up some people who were trying to bully me on my first day, I head back out into the plains so I can start building a house. But of course, by house I meant mine because it's dark and I don't feel like building in the middle of the night. On top of that, it'll also help me get some different blocks to use so I don't just live in a cardboard box. After digging down a little bit, I decide to make a small room that will later be used as a storage room for my mine. The sun is coming up once I finally finish getting some coal out of the roof, and that means I can actually start working on my house. I start off with a cobblestone foundation, but I quickly dislike the first attempt since it just seems a bit too messy. So on my next attempt, I decide to go with a bit of a more organized approach, but still more random than not. This helps me get a much nicer base for the house, but I do quickly run out of cobblestone because I decided to make it decently large. I quickly craft some torches and decide to start heading down into the mines a bit more so that I can continue on the house. I don't find anything too exciting on my pathway down, but hey, I do have some cobblestone to continue on the house. By the time I'm done with the outline, it is once again nighttime, but I don't have a bed, so it doesn't really matter that much. And now I just get to deal with all of the dirt that's within this outline that I really don't want there. A baby zombie appears, and of course, I have to erase it from existence because these things are the worst. Well, I guess at least they're not phantoms, but I'll certainly have a bed before they start showing up, right? Storage is important, so let's start working on that. This chest is for the cornflower. Dang, that means I need more chests, doesn't it? Here's another chest. Oh, and a creeper. I hope he likes eggs, because he's legally required to be scrambled. Yeah, he's dead now. Unfortunately, that creeper was in the mafia or something, and his friend may or may not have killed me. Unfortunately for that creeper, I am a robot. I can't die, and therefore, I just got lost for a while before getting back home. I just returned to what I was doing before, which was digging out my floor, because I do not respect the creepers nor their intentions. After that, I decide to start adding the storage part to the storage room, because otherwise it would have just been a weird room with a couple of pumpkins in it. So after widening the room out a little bit, I can now actually start adding chests to store stuff in. While collecting wood for the chests, I decide to cheese an enderman, because I have no honor. Back in the storage room, after finishing up all the chests, I lastly add some furnaces, because it's nice to have in a room like this. I cook myself up some stone so that I can make myself a stone cutter, because I always like having stone cutters around. I use it to immediately replace these grass and stone stairs into actual stairs so that I don't have to jump up them. I also make a small porch in front of the house so that I can step up into the house a bit easier. And of course, with where that is, that means I get to dig even more dirt now. But as Mom always said, with enough stone shovels, anything is possible, so that's not a huge worry. While I'm at it, I also edit the porch a little bit because I thought it looked a little puny, but I think this is a bit better, especially with the little garden patches I'm going to have. I also decide to start actually putting stuff in the chests downstairs as a sort of temporary storage until I have a better storage room available, and they are going to be lightly sorted for now. I go out and cut down some trees because I elect that I kinda want a floor, so it would be nice to start working on that. I decide on a sort of checkered floor pattern. I decide on using oak wood and birch wood like this so that I can have a bit of a more interesting floor than just a flat plane. I would have liked to use something like spruce or dark oak, but since I passed on my spruce mountain, I kinda only have oak to work with at the moment. Some people come over and give me a gift of a potato, which was very nice of them. Even though potatoes are not my favorite, they are pretty nice to have. I would apologize to Mother Nature for the amount of trees I chopped down to make this floor, but A, I plant a lot of them back, and B, they seem like a bit of a pyro, so honestly, at least I'm using them for something. I also steal pumpkins, but that I'm not even remotely sorry for, because honestly, pumpkin, they're just kinda here. They're not, I don't even know if they count as plants. They're just on the floor. Another member of the Creeper Mafia shows up as I'm finishing the oak part of the floor in this section, which, you know, it wasn't annoying at all. It's fine. Birch trees will also be injured during the making of this floor, but I'm sure none of you guys care about that because, for some reason, people really don't like birch wood. As you can see, I'm just putting birch in the gaps between the oak planks to make a sort of checkered effect, which will look something like this as we go on. I also have another friendly green man show up, and this one gives me a carrot, which is even better than the potato, I think. Seems like most people end up using golden carrots as their main food source near the end of the game, but I don't really get it at all, so I guess we'll see what I end up doing. While I still would prefer a darker wood to replace the oak with, I think the floor is looking pretty good now that I've finished it. Of course, a floor is nothing without walls, so I make a fence around my staircase. Don't worry, I will get to making the walls around the actual house. But first I kinda just felt like building a table, and so I did. The only thing is I want a type of carpet on top of it, and I don't have that much wool right now, so I need to go slaughter some sheep. Aw, there's some sheep. Aw, where'd the sheep go? Dang Creeper Mafia, go away please. That didn't hurt at all. Nope, not even a little bit. And even though it took all night to finish, the table is now finished, and has carpet all over it. Well, I guess not entirely finished, because I still need chairs, because what's a table without chairs? But that wasn't very hard. Really, the hardest part was deciding whether or not I was using trapdoors or normal doors for the main chairs, and, well, that's not very hard. I'm just kinda picky, I guess. I start experimenting with entrances for the house, but don't worry, this one does not stay very long, because it doesn't look very good. And then for some reason, I decided it's a good idea to start building the walls on the inside of the cobblestone. I really don't know why I did that. It makes the house more cramped, and it doesn't even look that great, so this changes too. When I finally realize that the walls look like garbage, I try and take them down, but I'm attacked by the frickin' sky pancakes that nobody likes. Nobody. At all. So, as with all things in this world, I decide to make them stop existing, because they're minor nuisances. But these ones are slightly more of a nuisance than other things, so they definitely deserved it. After getting rid of the walls overnight, I start working on the new walls that will be on top of the cobblestone, and I'll add depth later, instead of trying to do it how I was doing it before, because I just wasn't a huge fan of how it was turning out last time. Even more sky pancakes now, as I'm trying to work on my walls. I really wish I had a bed. I got attacked by this dude with a shovel and more sky pancakes, and yeah. Walking back home again. Of course, nothing wanted it to be easy for me to get my stuff back, so, you know. They tried to murder me again, but this time I lived, which is good, because dying is not fun. And after way too long, I think my walls are finally done, which is really nice, because I am really sick of zombies just walking into my house. So now, I just need my first floor roof on, and I should be a lot safer to get through the night. I take a moment to investigate that weird-looking tree off in the distance, and of course, it was fire. Because it's always fire. And since I'm over here, I decide to collect some of the sand so that I can make some windows for my house so that there aren't just holes in the walls. As the sand smelts, I start working on the entrance again because it's still not great, and I'm trying to figure out how to get this indented part to work, but I'm still trying to figure that out. After lighting the house up and also popping in the window panes, I'm now feeling a lot safer in the house. The only real safety thing I need to add now is my roof, and that is gonna be coming here soon. After cutting down a lot of trees, I start work on the roof by making a sort of crossbeam pattern on top, but this is gonna take a lot of logs. So let's quickly speed through doing that, because I don't want to make you watch me do this whole thing, because it took a really long time to do. Yeah, that was a lot of logs. But hey, now I have my crossbeams, now I just need everything else. And by everything else, of course I mean slabs, because I want to save some wood, because I've used a lot of it already, and I really don't want to start cutting down even more trees, even though I know I'll probably have to anyway. I poke into that hole next to where the bees are, and end up realizing that it is a lot bigger than I originally thought it was, but it has some coal in it, which is what I was looking for, so it works out fine. I use this coal to make some stone, because I want to use stone bricks on top of my house, and deep slate bricks are not currently available to me, so those will have to wait to be used for another time. I decide to change this roof panel into where the staircase is going to be, because I really need an easy way to get up to the second floor, because this is going to be a multiple story house, not just one. Now that I have an actual staircase up to the second floor, I can finally start placing those stone bricks down where I want them to be. Of course, as I work on this, I end up realizing that I forgot a few panels because I really don't know how I forgot them. So, yeah, I have no excuse. I do not know how I forgot these panels. I quickly finish the stone brick trim before I start working on any of the panels because, honestly, I just couldn't be bothered. Luckily, with just a few logs, I'm pretty easily able to fix the slight issue of missing part of my roof. Now, actual last thing for the roof for now, I just need to put in some of these stone bricks in these gaps in the crossbeams, and I should be good now. Now after doing that, I have a pretty decently completed first floor. Just need some more interior decoration now. To get a little bit started on that, I decide to add some inner walls to make it less of just a giant warehouse room and more of an actual house. This will come in handy because it will let me have different sections of the house be for different things. This room in specific will be used for plants and farming stuff that will be inside instead of outside. Though, after walking outside, I kinda realized that my house looks like a bootleg villager house, and we cannot be having that, so let's start to fix that with some depth. I end up going with this cobblestone pillar design. It helps it give it a bit more depth, which is what I was going for. Having flat walls is generally not ideal because it makes it look really plain and boring, but at the same time you don't want to add too much because it can make it look messy. At the same time I'm working on the house walls, I'm also working on the entrance to the mine and the mine storage room because I thought it looked kinda plain, and also it was just sort of the rocks that were there when I dug it out. I finally find a cave in my mine. It's not the biggest I've found, but it's something I want to look into later on because it seems like it's going on for a bit further than I can see. But after mining, I am able to finish all of the pillar design that I have on my house, which I think made it look a lot better than that bootleg villager house aesthetic that it had before. I decide to start making a path out from the house. It won't just be dirt path, but I am using that as a sort of base to see where it's gonna be. And yes, I just sort of spammed it around. It'll look better later, I promise. The first thing I do to try and make it look a little better is grab a little bit of gravel from inside of the mine so that I can make coarse dirt, which will be a better path block to go along with the dirt, but it won't grow grass on it, so it won't just blend back in. Then, after the coarse dirt is all laid out, I decide to start adding mud to the path because I think it works well as a sort of addition to the dirt to show a sort of moisture in the area. After finishing with the path, I decide that it would be nice to have a water feature in front of the house, so I decide to make a small pond-like area with a river flowing down the hill after it. But this video is kinda getting long already, so I'm probably just gonna try and breeze through that as quickly as possible. And with the pond now done, all we need to do is the river. And with that now done, I think we can finally end today's episode. I think we made a lot of good progress in this first episode, but there's still definitely a lot more we can do in this world. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do next time, but I do want to get some better stuff instead of just running around and whatever I can scrounge together. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I do hope to have another one out in not too long. Feel free to stop by again, and without further ado, I'll see you later.